Heartless, Forbidden, Book 1. Written by Suzana Thompson. Narrated by Paulina Schubert. Chapter 33. Morgan was mortified that I had told Logan about her plan to have sex with another guy, but I assured her that she could use that to her advantage. Now that it's in his mind, you don't actually have to do it. It's enough for him to think that you might. So that's it? She asked. You think that he'll suddenly ask me out because you told him that? No, I replied. You have to pretend like you're giving up on him. I'm going to tell him that I told you he doesn't like you back. You're going to be upset for the rest of the week. If he calls you, don't answer your phone. But what if he wants to ask me out? She questioned in dismay. He won't, I said. Not yet, I added to soften the sting. He'll just be checking up on you to make sure I went along with his plan. He'll probably call me when he can't get a hold of you, and that's when I'll tell him that I told you to stop wasting your time on him. What if he doesn't care? She queried anxiously. He'll care, I assured her, although I wasn't completely sure that this would work. It was still better than her plan, so I had no qualms about talking her into this. You can't cave, though, or it will ruin everything. You have to make him believe this is real. Then I start dating other guys? She asked uncertainly. That's the tricky part, I answered. I wish you weren't already so beautiful. It would be so much more dramatic if we could do an amazing makeover on you and make him do a double take. She laughed, but didn't make a self-deprecating remark of false modesty. She knew that she was pretty, although she wasn't conceited about it. That made me realize that she most certainly had gotten attention from other guys, but she had probably turned them down because of her fixation on Logan. Don't pick a nice guy, I said. If someone has a crush on you, you don't want to break his heart. You need a player, someone who just goes from one girl to the next. Do you know anyone like that? I sure do, she replied. He's been trying to get in my pants for ages. Every school has at least one of those, I remarked bitterly. But if you don't want to deal with him, I can set you up with a guy from my school. That way you won't ever have to see him again after this is over. Oh, I can handle Blaine, she said with a confidence I found intriguing. Maybe she was only shy around Logan. I tittered. Blaine? That sounds like such a rich boy name. Then I remembered that Morgan was rich. I trailed off, since I couldn't think of a way to extricate my foot from my mouth. Morgan was laughing softly. I know what you mean. And he does fit that spoiled rich boy stereotype. Okay, I acknowledged quickly, eager to get past my blunder. So you'll spend this week being upset, and then next week you'll be ready to get over Logan and decide that you're ready to give other guys a chance. Then we'll make it known that this guy, Blaine, has been asking you out, and you finally said yes. How long do I have to go out with him? She questioned. Hopefully you won't even have to go out with him at all, I answered. Cade made me cancel my date with Brandon, so I'm hoping that's what Logan will do when he finds out about your date with Blaine. So that was just about making Cade jealous? She inquired. The question startled me. No, I denied. At least, I don't think it was, I added uncertainly. Brandon seemed fun, and I just wanted to go out and have fun after all the drama. What drama? She asked. I hesitated for a moment, but then I confided in her. I wasn't sure why I decided to expose something so unflattering about myself to a new friend. Maybe I wanted her to drop me before I became attached to her friendship and felt its loss. I even prompted her to do it. If you don't want to be my friend, I'll understand. I was a terrible friend to Skylar. You were, she agreed. I felt humiliation wash over me as her blunt confirmation confirmed it. There's only one thing I need to know, she said. Can I trust you with Logan? Her words broke through my depressing expectation of her cold shoulder. Yes, I exclaimed eagerly. I swear you can. I'll prove it to you. She cut off my pleading assurances. Don't make promises you can't keep. Think about it first. I need you to be sure. Do you feel any attraction to him at all? Will you be able to resist him if he flirts with you? I wanted to deny any attraction to him, but that would be a lie. He is very attractive, I admitted anxiously. But I swear to you that I would never do that to you. Skylar hates me now, and it's awful. I wouldn't want to lose another friend over a guy. It's not worth it. She didn't respond right away, and I felt my heart sink like a stone during her silence. Losing the tentative bond I had begun to form with her hurt more than I had expected. Her judgment of me stung, and I realized that it was because I agreed with Logan that Morgan was special. Being deemed unworthy to be her friend made me feel really bad about myself. "Thank you for being honest," she said. "I wouldn't have been able to trust you if you had lied about being attracted to him. It's still not going to be easy, but I believe that everyone deserves a second chance. I think you've changed and learned from your mistakes. I have to tell you, though, that I'll never forgive you if you kiss Logan. Never." I barely dared to hope. "Are you saying?" "I'm saying we're friends unless you prove we aren't," she told me. "We're friends," I insisted with growing excitement. "I promise that I'm going to do everything I can to help you get Logan." "Thanks," she replied. "But it doesn't mean we won't be friends if he doesn't like me. As long as you don't ever kiss him, we'll be okay." "I promise," I assured her. Anyway, I've got enough to worry about dealing with Cade. I launched into an account of his behavior this morning at school and in the hallway outside my bedroom door, leaving out the part about his jealousy over the time I spent with Logan. "I'm afraid we're going to get caught. I don't know what our parents would do if they found out." "Be careful," she advised. "I don't think you have to worry about it in the parking lot at school, but at home—" "I know," I agreed. "That's what I've been telling him. It'll be okay to act like a couple when we go on our date, but—" "Oh," she interrupted excitedly. "Is that going to be your first date? Where are you going?" "I don't know," I replied. "I told him I want to do something fun." "Like what?" she asked. "I don't know," I answered. "I just don't want it to be anything fancy and too romantic." "Too romantic?" she inquired in surprise. "Why not? What's wrong with romance?" I'd had enough confessions for one conversation. "I don't want to talk about that right now. I should let you go anyway. It's getting late and we have school tomorrow." "Okay," she said, "but let me know if you talk to Logan again. Are you still coming over on Sunday?" "Yes," I answered, "and I'll call you if I talk to Logan. Are you going to try my plan?" "Yes," she replied. "I have to try something before he leaves again. Are you sure I shouldn't answer if he calls me?" "I'm sure," I told her. "He needs to know he can't just string you along like that." "Okay," she agreed dubiously. "My way hasn't worked, so I'll try it your way." To my surprise, my plan had an immediate effect on Logan. When I checked my phone during my break the next afternoon at work, there was a text message and a voicemail from him, as well as one from Morgan. I listened to hers first. "Oh my God!" her voice exclaimed on the message. "Logan has called me 4 times. He texted me first, and then he started calling me when I didn't answer his texts. He even called Taylor, and I had to pretend like I was upset about him not liking me. She's so mad at you for telling me that. I'm sorry. I didn't want to involve her in this, but she wouldn't leave me alone until I told her." I sent her a quick text. "It's okay. Plan is working great. Keep it going." I then read Logan's text and listened to his voicemail message, both of which berated me for upsetting Morgan. He was still angry when I called him. "Why did you tell her that?" he demanded. "Because it's the truth," I replied. "I didn't want to lie to her about you liking shy girls. That would just give her false hope." "You upset her," he exclaimed. "She won't even talk to me." "She'll get over it," I said. "It's just puppy love," I couldn't resist adding. "I've got to get back to work now. My break's almost over." "I can't believe that you don't care about her feelings," he lambasted me. "I thought you were her friend." "I am her friend," I retorted, "and I want her to get over you and be happy. It's not fair for you to keep stringing her along when you don't want to be with her." I hung up on him then and went to the bathroom before going back to work to finish my shift. Logan was very upset over Morgan, and I didn't think that he would be if he didn't have strong feelings for her. I just hoped that he would realize that soon before she had to go any further with this charade. My own love life was working out much better. Cade texted me to call him as soon as I got off work. When I did, he told me the plan for our date. We're going to medieval times on Friday. I told my dad I'm taking you there to cheer you up because Brandon canceled your date. Now that he mentioned it, I vaguely recalled mentioning my date with Brandon to my mom. It was clever of Cade to use that as an excuse to take me out. Good thinking, but what is medieval times? I questioned. It's a dinner show with guys on horses pretending to be knights, he explained. I hope that's okay for our date. I've never heard of it, but it sounds fun, I replied. And it was. The next couple of days passed quickly, since I was busy going to school and working, but my awareness of Friday being my last day at my current school made the days seem to pass especially fast. I almost said goodbye to Skylar, but she had gone back to ignoring me, and I didn't have the nerve to approach her. Jenna actually braved Cade's scowling to walk out into the hallway with me after the class we shared, when I mentioned to her that it was my last day. Do you mind? She snapped at him. I'm trying to say goodbye to Lexi. You've said it, he retorted. Now get lost. You get lost, I told him in annoyance. I want to talk to Jenna in peace. Why are you always taking her side? He complained. I'm your boyfriend. I just want to say goodbye to her, I said in exasperation. Whatever, he said and strode off. Jenna smiled at me in bemusement. I didn't mean to cause trouble. You didn't, I emphasized. He's so damn stubborn sometimes. Don't I know it, she muttered. Well, good luck, she told me in a lighter tone. I hope you make some good friends at your new school. Thanks, I replied. I hope everything works out for you too, and that you'll be happy. Thanks, she responded with a wistful smile. Goodbye, Lexi. Goodbye, Jenna, I said, feeling a bit of sadness over the finality of this goodbye. We parted, going our separate ways for the rest of the day, until I spotted her one more time in the parking lot after school. She gave me a final wave, and I waved back before Cade found me and complained that I hadn't wanted to ride to school with him on my last day. I wanted to drive out of here by myself one more time, I explained. I haven't had a car as long as you have. This is still a big deal to me. You'll be driving to school by yourself every day, he grumbled. This was our last chance to drive together. We'll be together tonight, I reminded him. We'll have plenty of time to drive around together. That brought an enigmatic smile to his face. We'll be doing more than driving. My stomach dipped at his words, but my reply was sassy. Don't get ahead of yourself. You don't know what we'll be doing. His smile turned wicked. I know I'm going to take you higher than you've ever been. I rolled my eyes in response at that cheesy line. Sure you will. But he did. The airport? I questioned in astonishment. It's a private airport, Cade explained. We're taking a short flight. I had been surprised and a little annoyed when I saw that we were going in a limo, but I couldn't complain about it being too romantic in front of my mom and Robert. At least Cade and I were both dressed casually in jeans and t-shirts. Cade behaved himself in the back of the limo with me, so I assumed that he was worried the driver might see us. Told you I'd take you higher than you've ever been, he teased quietly now. We're flying? I exclaimed. Where are we going? Chicago, he replied as we pulled up to the hangar. Why? I asked in bewilderment. It's the closest place that has medieval times, he answered, like flying to another state for dinner wasn't crazy. The driver prevented me from sputtering a protest about it not being necessary to go there. In a daze, I took hold of the hand he extended toward me after opening the door for me. Cade climbed out on his own and steered me into the hangar with a hand on my lower back. He gestured for me to walk up the stairs first. Your mom says that you've never been on a plane before, he commented from behind me. I haven't, I confirmed with a nervous flutter in my stomach. Inside the plane, it looked like a living room with two pairs of recliners facing each other across the table. The other side had single recliners facing each other. Cade motioned for me to take a seat next to the window on the side containing the paired recliners, and I chose the seats that faced forward. He sat down beside me. The captain came out of the cockpit to introduce himself and then left us alone in the cabin. I said nothing fancy, I hissed at Cade. Which is why we aren't going to Paris, he retorted. I blinked at him in shock. You would go to Paris for a date? He shrugged. Maybe if I were proposing. Cade, I protested less strongly than before. Why did you do this? I told you nothing romantic, or... We're going to a tacky dinner show, he interjected. There's nothing fancy or romantic about it. This is just the only way we can make it there in time. He pulled a pack of gum out of his pocket. Have a piece. It'll keep your ears from popping when we take off. Despite my disapproval, my excitement couldn't be quelled. It was my first airplane ride, and it was amazing to feel it leave the ground as we soared into the air. I was glued to the window as we flew up into the clouds and above them. It was an incredible experience, and I absolutely loved it. I turned excitedly back toward Cade. Look! We're above the clouds! He was watching my reaction with an affectionate smile that turned teasing. Have you ever been higher? I laughed. No, I haven't. Your stupid line is true. Are you happy now? I thought happiness started with H. Why does mine start with U? I groaned at the lameness of that one, and he grinned. If you think that's romantic, listen to this. My doctor says I'm missing vitamin U. Do you have a map? I'm getting lost in your eyes. Did you sit in a pile of sugar because you have a sweet ass? Are your legs tired because you've been running? Okay, you're not romantic, I cut in laughingly. I can't believe you don't think I'm romantic, he pouted in mock offense. I laughed again and turned back to enjoy the view through the window. The flight was only an hour, and the descent was just as exciting as the takeoff. I couldn't imagine that any other date I ever went on would be able to compare to this one. There was another limo waiting to drive us to our destination in Chicago. Despite Cade's remark about it being a tacky show, Medieval Times turned out to be a blast. Each section of the audience had a knight to cheer for, and everyone got caught up in the competition of the jousting tournament and the sword fights. Seeing them ride out on their horses while dressed up like knights appealed to the kid inside all of us. We also had to eat the food with our hands, since utensils weren't used in the 11th century. I certainly couldn't complain that it was too fancy, although it wasn't difficult to eat garlic bread, roast chicken, and corn on the cob without utensils. I skipped the tomato soup, but Cade slurped his straight from the bowl. It was the most fun I'd had in ages, and our knight even won the tournament. We were then treated to a falconry display, and told to keep our hands in our laps as the falcon flew around the arena. I felt a corresponding dip in my stomach when it lifted into the air, the sensation caused by the memory of my recent flying experience. I impulsively kissed Cade on the cheek. Thank you, I told him. He turned to gaze at me with that warm look in his eyes I had seen only a couple times before. Fun? He questioned with an equally warm smile. So much fun, I gushed, smiling happily. We held hands as we walked out after the show, and I felt as content and happy as I had ever been. Neither one of us felt the need to talk as we exited the building and got into the limo. After riding in silence for a couple of minutes, Cade leaned in closer to me and spoke. Are you going to kiss me? Or do I have to lie to my diary? I laughed and turned to look at him. He was still leaning close, and we were kissing without even having to anticipate it. This time it felt as natural as breathing, and we didn't stop until we arrived at the airport. When we pulled apart, my entire mouth was tingling. My head felt floaty as the driver helped me to my feet, and I stepped carefully up the stairs into the plane. It was dark now, so the lights were on in the cabin. I smiled dreamily at Cade when he sat down next to me. Best date ever, I sighed. His eyes got a dreamy look in them too as he gazed at me. It is, he agreed. We flew home, but we were floating in our own little world for the time being. I didn't descend from that high even when we came back down to earth.